All righty, good afternoon, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Thumbs up.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Always want to be sure before I start talking, and you guys can't even hear me. So, okay, let me share my screen. All right, do you see medial epicondylitis? Get another yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, so I had a request to do a talk on this, and it's actually kind of ironic because I have a pretty flared up case of it right now. But medial epicondylitis is just a fancy term for golfer's elbow. I'm sure you guys have heard that. There's also tennis elbow. That's usually on the other side of the elbow. We're going to be talking about the middle side. So if you were to put your arms out with your palms up, okay, so the middle part, the part of your elbow closest to your side, that is your medial elbow, your medial epicondyle. It's a bony prominence of the humerus bone, the bone up on high up on the arm. Who can tell me what itis means? We've talked about this in a few presentations. What is itis?
Inflammation.
Inflammation, very good. So if we have itis on the end, we're talking about inflammation at the medial epicondyle. Okay, so let's do a little bit of anatomy here. So again, we're looking at the forearm here. This is the palm of the hand. Okay, this is the middle part of the elbow. This is the part closest to the side. Okay, so the thumb is pointed out away from you. If you look right here, this is the humerus bone coming down. It has two pretty big bumps on the outsides. This is your medial epicondyle. This is your lateral epicondyle. Okay, so on the medial epicondyle, we have a lot of muscles that attach there. Okay, so you can see there's the pronator teres. So pronation and supination, that's two movements that our elbow does. Okay, so supination is when your palms go open, as if you're holding and you put your hands together, you could hold some soup in your hand. Pronation is when the wrists turn over, so you're pointing your palms down. Okay, so two movements that we don't typically, use that word too often. But the pronator, that little muscle right there, causes the wrist and elbow to turn over. Then you have the, excuse me, flexor carpi radialis, the palmaris longus, the flexor carpi ulnaris. Underneath that, you have the flexor digitorum superficialis, the flexor digitorum profundus. A lot of fun muscles in there that I had to learn for school that I will never, ever forget because they were drilled into my brain. But a lot of muscles in here. Okay, so a lot of these are for wrist flexion and for finger flexion. Okay, so the biggest thing that I want you to look at on this picture over here, if you look at the flexor digitorum superficialis and the profundus, which is a little bit deeper, it's kind of tucked underneath there. This big muscle belly right here is in your forearm, right? But all of the tendons run down all the way down into your fingertips, pretty much, okay? Depending on the muscle. So that is very important when it comes to us wanting to stretch this muscle. Okay, so I really wanted to emphasize this picture here, showing you the tendons running all the way down into the fingers, okay? Put this picture in here again so you can see the humerus. Here's your medial epicondyle, okay? What I want you to see on this one is this is where all of those muscles are attaching, is to this bone, okay? Look how close that ulnar nerve is. Okay, so the ulnar nerve, that's your funny bone. That's your funny nerve, whatever you want to call it. When you bump that and you feel that numb and tingling all the way down into your little pinky finger, that's your ulnar nerve, okay? When you get inflammation here in this medial epicondyle and all of those flexor tendons, sometimes that inflammation can build up enough that you start getting a little bit of pressure on this ulnar nerve, and sometimes that can lead to symptoms down into the hand and that little finger, okay? Again, medial epicondyle here, look at all these muscles coming in, right? Boom, 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 boom. They all come to this one little spot. So any sort of overuse can cause this area to be inflamed, okay? So here are some stretches. I'm just gonna show you some quick pictures and then I'm gonna jump on screen and show you guys. So look at this stretch here. See where his hand is? It's all the way down here to the fingertips. Okay, so we want to pull the fingers back, not just the hand and the wrist. We want to pull the fingers, okay? But then we also want to turn it over, point the fingers up and do it, right? Because we have this pronator muscle, okay, that when we turn the wrist over, now it's kind of out of play and we can stretch different muscles. Okay, so depending on which muscle is tight and causing the inflammation primarily, we need to focus on each individual muscle, make sure we're getting that range of motion out of all of the individual muscles, okay? And then here are a couple strength training exercises again that I'm gonna walk through and I'm gonna show you guys, okay? Then we have these really cool Theraband flex bars. They're similar color as your Theraband, so yellow is the easiest all the way up to blue. And they're just hard to turn and rotate. And again, I'll show you those as well. Okay, so let me jump on that real quick. I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay, does everybody see me again?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so let me slide over here. All right, everybody see this weight. So the first one I want to show you is the wrist flexion, okay? Especially when we're starting out, it's very important that when you do this exercise that you don't flex the wrist back up, okay? So the important thing that you want to start with is letting the weight go down into your fingertips. Take your other hand, take it back up. Let it go down into your fingertips and the other hand to bring it back up. Don't curl it. When you curl it, that's going to cause that inflammation to kind of remain there. We want to work the eccentric contraction where the muscles are getting longer to help stretch them out, okay, while also strengthening them, okay? The other one I like is you can use a hammer, you can use a dumbbell, whatever you want. You're going to start with the weight up. You're going to lower it to one side, the hand to lift it back up. You're going to lower it to the other side. Pick it back up. Okay. So we're working a couple different muscles here. You're actually working the outside of the elbow as well at the same time, but this is just one of those two birds, one stone kind of exercises. Okay. And then eventually we can progress to where you're actually lifting the weight back up yourself. Okay. But if you have a, what we call an acute stage of medial epicondylitis, then we don't want to be doing the work. We just want gravity to kind of do the work, and we're fighting against gravity. Okay. Then again, we have these really cool flex bars. Again, this yellow one, very, very flexible versus the blue one. It's a little bit tougher to turn, okay? But there's so many different things we can do with this. We can work on bending, okay? We can work on twisting, okay? You can bend with one side, or you're kind of using a little bit of shoulder. So many different things we can do with this. And I like these because the negative aspects, so I can put my wrist where I want it, twist the other side, and then slowly release with that side. So I'm not doing the work. Again, twist, and then resist the release, okay? Again, we're working on that lengthening aspect of the muscle, not necessarily strengthening just yet, until we get into a stage where it's not as flared up and inflamed. If you're pretty flared up, the first thing that I'm actually gonna do is I'm just gonna massage the heck out of all of these muscles here, okay? So right now you might be able to see it. I have one right there. That muscle is very, very, very tight, very flared up. That is my issue, okay? So I've been trying to treat that. I've been massaging it. I've been doing some trigger point release, all kinds of things to make it feel better, okay? But again, back to the stretches. You want to reach down to the fingertips, okay? If you're just flexing the wrist, you're missing a lot of muscles, and you're typically missing the culprits. Okay, so we want to reach down, grab those fingertips, straight elbow, pull back. Okay, how long are we going to hold this stretch?
Ten seconds.
No, way more.
30 seconds.
At least 30. 30 seconds.
At least 30. Very good. At least 30. Anything less than 30, you're not going to get any tissue change. Okay, we want to lengthen. Okay, and then again, so this is the supinated position. Now we want to go into the pronated position and pull the fingertips back. Okay, and don't mind my funky fingers, but you're going to pull back on those fingertips. Make sure you're getting that whole tendon all the way down, stretched out. Okay. Let me see some questions here. Will we have access to the flex bars in our gyms? No, that's just something I have in my office to use to treat this, if somebody comes and sees me for this, it's not something that we have in all the gyms, no. But you're more than welcome to come down and use them. I'll show you how, and we can do a couple of exercises with them. I got them on Amazon. I want to say it was like 18 bucks for the set of 4. Okay. All different resistances. They're not that expensive. How did we schedule time with you? Let me get that link and I'll post it in there, Eva. Okay. All right, guys, that's all I have for medial epicondylitis. It's a pretty common condition. Anytime we're working on something where we have to grip and hold on tight to something, those finger flexors are working overtime. And again, it's our fingers doing the work, holding on to something, but it comes all the way down here into the elbows where that muscle goes. Okay, it's a very, very, very long, skinny muscle that can lead to that inflammation. Okay, that's it for the presentation. Thank you guys for being here. If you have any questions, let me know. You're welcome, Tiffany.